Let's take a look at MacArthur's circle model. After Stevens, several models were introduced which were based on concentric circles. A concentric circle, as you may know, are circles which have the same center. These models included MacArthur's model, Gerlach's model, and Cutchow's model. These concentric circle models reflected the decline of intelligibility that different varieties of English, both native and non-native, demonstrate. A cline, as again you may know, is a series of items in which each item is very similar or almost the same to the next item in the series. However, the first and the last items are very different. So in these circle models, we see that the further a variety moves from the center, the more different it gets from the standard English or the whatever variety is in the center. And consequently, the mutual intelligibility of different varieties as they move apart from each other also decreases. MacArthur presented his model in the form of a wheel in 1987. The wheel is divided into different geographical sections. Let's take a look at a figure which shows MacArthur's wheel model. As you can see, we have World Standard English in the center of this model. Next to this center, we have a band which is divided into 8 different regions, representing 8 different varieties of English. These include East Asian Standardizing English, South Asian Standardizing English, West, East and Southern African Standardizing English, Caribbean Standard English, Canadian Standard English, American Standard English, British and Irish Standard English, Australian, New Zealand and South Pacific Standard English. As you can see, some of these varieties are standard and some are standardizing. Next to these 8 geographical regions, we have different sub-varieties. As you can also see that these varieties are divided with the help of these spokes, which make it look like a wheel. So spoke, you must know, is this thin metal rod which links the rim of a wheel to its center in a bicycle. So these varieties are divided by these spokes, and then each variety is in a way connected with the variety on the other side of the spoke, and then they are connected with the center, which is the World Standard English. These divisions, these spokes, are not permeable, which means that the varieties which are next to each other are not intelligible. Also, the more a sub-variety moves away from the hub or the main variety that this particular region represents, the more different it gets from the main variety. For example, in case of South Asian Englishes, Indian English will be very different from Sri Lankan English because we have Indian English closer to South Asian English division, which is next to the spoke. So that is what these circle models represent. They represent different varieties on a cline, which means that as different sub-varieties move further from each other, they become less and less intelligible to each other, or the differences between them increase. So MacArthur's wheel model divides the English-speaking world into 8 different geographical regions. and each variety which is found in one region is connected with the next geographically situated variety, and then these varieties are shown to be linearly connected with the center, which is the world standard English. So each variety is then connected with the world standard English. The lines separating these variety segments are not permeable, as we've already said. So the varieties which are next to each other are not perhaps not mutually intelligible completely, or are very different from each other. So therefore South Asian English will be very different from, let's say, African English.